Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another video of ours.
Restart.
Start that you're
Hold on.
laughing. So,
Yeah.
although
Wait.
there's no,
Hold
we
on.
can laugh here, but anyway, we can laugh here.
Right.
You know
Go.
what? We won't restart that. Let's go for it. Right. So basically, we did our preview of the Nations League campaign for Ireland, particularly the matches against England and Greece, obviously. But this is the starting 11 show. Daz is going to pick his starting 11 for the match against England. I haven't a clue what formation system. I haven't seen a tactics board. I have no rumors what players are going to be in this team. Daz, first of all, who's the goalkeeper?
Yeah. Look, I think that nearly picks itself. It's probably the only one you probably would predict straight away. Nearly Kelleher for me, has to start. Look, I'm a big fan of Max O'Leary. I hope he gets a chance someday for Ireland, even in friendlies. Obviously, Kelleher is a Premier League goalkeeper with Liverpool. I mean, he's played a good few games with them last year,
Chelsea
and
have a
he
lot of
showed.
goalkeepers in their books, but they don't have him.
Yeah, they don't have him. They probably would sign him if they could. But look, Kelleher's a great goalkeeper. I think a lot of his thought actually he'd moved this season, in this window, and he didn't. He stayed at Liverpool, which is for me a bit surprising.
Mm.
I was hoping he'd move to maybe Ipswich or someone and try and push play every week and be a standout player, but wasn't to be.
He's 26
Look,
now, isn't he, Kelleher?
he's 26. He actually did play a lot of games for Liverpool last year as a second choice keeper. So obviously he's a very good keeper, and I'm delighted that we have him, and he is very good. So it's just a pity he doesn't start. It's the same thing what we had with Randolph 10 years ago. Didn't
Yeah.
start, and he was one of our best players at the time. So
Mm.
look, it's Kelleher for me in goals. It's hard to kind of dispute that, but Max O'Leary is playing every week and has played every week for the past 2 or 3 seasons. So hopefully he gets a chance someday. But Kelleher's in goals for me.
Have you gone for a back four?
So yeah, that's what I wanted to discuss next. So I actually went for a back four. I went four
Back four.
four one one.
So who's right back?
I went with Coleman right back.
Mm.
Look, as we discussed in the other video, we're not blessed for options throughout the team. Like, we're not. And a few positions which we'll discuss, we're kind of a bit stuck in a minute, a little bit.
Hmm.
But I think Coleman's coming towards the end of his time with Ireland. This could be his last campaign. He's been a great servant, one of my favourite ever players. I love him to bits. He's a top man on and off the pitch. He's a leader, an example. He's the captain. He's going to want that experience in such a big game. I'll tell you in a minute who I picked ahead of him and why I picked that player ahead of him as well to help him out. But I just think Coleman's versatile. He can slot in centre back if needed too, and he'll help the team get through these few
Still
games.
a
And
bit for me. Daz agree with you as well so far, but he's still our best right back even at this stage of his career.
there's
I don't trust Matt Doherty, if I'm honest.
no
I
there's
think he's
there's
underperformed as a whole for
there's
Ireland.
no
I
one
think
rivaling him.
no,
There's
I
nobody
think
rivaling
Coleman will dig
Coleman.
in. He'll give you that
Yeah,
experience. He has bags of. He's a fantastic leader. He's a real leader. Like he's
yeah,
in many ways
and
he's underrated his career. Probably
I
because
think
he played
so.
at Everton for so long, but
Yeah, and he'd die for the cause. Like he,
yeah.
he would put his body on the line for Ireland, and even after that horrible injury, he came back and did so well. And I just think he kind of picks himself a little bit, just how he is and how he looks after himself, how fit he is, the fact that he's still playing in the Premier League right now with so much money in the Premier League, and like, there's nothing stopping Everton going out and buying a 40 million right back. There wasn't, and they didn't.
Mhm.
He still plays with them right back in the Premier League, so that's saying something. Then he's a top player, and for me, that's why he's gone in right back for me.
Left back, this is the contentious position because we've struggled there, and Enda Stevens had that nailed for a while, but he's obviously had his injuries, and he's past it now. If I'm honest with you as well,
Mm.
but we've had so many players have played as left backs. Doherty's played there, Darrell O'Shea's played there. Ideally, O'Shea's a centre back too. And I'm just looking at the squad we have here. Robbie Brady has played there mainly as a wing back, as of Dowda. Liam Scales has played left wing back for Shamrock Rovers. I'm not sure if he hasn't for Ireland. Certainly hasn't for Ireland. So who are you putting in at left back?
Yeah, look, I think before I actually released this player, this was an area of concern for me, and I haven't been this concerned about a position in a long time for Ireland. We don't have many left backs playing, if any left back playing at the minute, bar Dennis Kirkin of Sunderland, who hasn't officially declared for us. I'd also like to point out that obviously for this video, I'm picking players that the manager has picked, because if it was me, I'd have Dennis Kirkin in. I would have him picked. He'd be starting for me. He'd be there.
Maybe the
But
manager would have him. Maybe it's just a case of he's
yeah,
not sure what he wants to do
that's
yet,
it.
etc., etc. But
That's it.
I don't.
But
We don't actually have a natural left back in the squad at all.
we don't, and it's a serious position. I do think it's an area England will target. I think they're going to put their best attackers down that side. Don't be surprised if there's overlaps or underlaps on this side. I honestly think we're going to be targeting that side,
Mm.
and possibly concede goals on this side because even going up ahead of this left back position, it was a little bit of a struggle too for who's going to play in front of them because I was thinking to myself, right, with my full backs, they're going to need support from who's ahead of them. So who am I going to put in front and behind? So
Mm.
I also had the shape of the team in my head going. If I went with three centre backs, I'd have a wing back. If I went with a fat back floor, I need someone who can play a left back. I don't think many people are going to agree with this, but I'm going to say why I picked this player now. I was very close to putting O'Shea left back and having somebody else centre back. I actually went with Doherty. Um, I'm not a big fan of Doherty, but one of a few of the reasons why I went with Doherty is he's the closest player we have to a left back. He's played left back for 3 or 4 years at Wolves years ago.
He's been playing
He
left
is.
back for Wolves so far this season, by the way.
I was going to say that too.
Mm.
He's actually been playing left back. He's starting with Wolves. He at the time of recording, he didn't start the game today, which is a bit concerning. But he has played the last few Premier League games with Wolves. Obviously, they conceded a terrible amount of goals, possibly two on his side against Chelsea, which is not ideal. But he is playing at the highest level, and we need players that are playing regularly. We need Premier League players. We There's no point in picking someone because they're on the bench in the Championship and they're a left back and they're not playing. Like you could, but why do it? I'd give Doherty the chance and tell him this is your chance to make this position yours for this season. Like you have to go out and earn this, and this is on you, and you can do this. And that's what I hope the manager's going to be saying to him. But because he's playing at the left, left back, right back, he can play there. He's a Premier League player. He's playing against tough opposition every week, and he is playing. Is why I went for Doherty. I could regret that one. It's very interesting to hear what people say in the comments below, especially about the shape 4-4-1-1. We haven't really seen that one in Ireland in quite a while. I kind of went back to basics with that one.
Centre back
I
number
picked
one, anyway. We'll name him first and discuss that one.
Yeah, so I have O'Shea on the left side,
Mm.
beside Doherty. So if Doherty's gone up wing, I'm expecting O'Shea to be able to cover that spot. He's obviously done quite well for Ireland, I think. He obviously recently just got a big move. He's the fifth most expensive Irish player of all time. Um, Hopefully he's going to start playing a few games, find a bit of form. I really like him as a player, and he's young, he's coming up, he's coming through. At least he can play a left back. If Doherty's having a mare of a game, off you go. After 20, 30 minutes, that's it, off you go. Somebody else comes on, O'Shea goes left back is what I would do. So I have O'Shea there, another player who is playing at a high level is what we need.
Centre back number two on the right hand side.
Yeah, look, I think this one nearly picks itself. Nathan Collins, we all know about him. I think he's been in good form of late. He's been playing quite well. He's been playing a lot. He's probably Bar Coleman, our best defender. Second or third most expensive Irish player of all times. He broke his transfer record again. So 25 odd million centre back, 25 million for an Irish player rather. You don't normally hear about that. So he'll be hopefully utilise the set pieces. He's good at heading the ball. He's strong. He's fast. He's technical enough too. He can find a pass if needed. He could even step into midfield if needed, but I don't think he'll ever go there. But that's my back four: Coleman, Collins, O'Shea, Doherty.
So we'll go on to the centre midfield. You've picked two centre midfielders, is that correct?
Two centre midfielders, yeah.
Right, so we'll discuss one for now.
So I picked Will Smallbone. I think he picks himself. He's in the Southampton team. He's
Mm.
starting games. I think he's developed quite a lot in the last year. I think he's a good passer of the ball. He's good at getting forward. I think he's been starting to take set pieces over the last year or two. Game time's good. I think he's been in okay form. I think he deserves a chance to start in this team.
Mm. Centre midfielder number two.
Oh, with Jason Knight. He's a player I really like. He's a workhorse. He works really hard for the team, and we're going to need that against England and against Greece. Like he could have to man mark someone out of the game. I'd be expecting Knight to be an anchor in midfield. He'll be helping out defensively and also going offensively when we get forward. He's played a lot of games for his age, and he's got a lot of experience for his age, and he's played a lot of times so far in the Championship. and I think he's done quite well. I think he's never going to be a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 player every week. He will always give you a
Mm.
6. He'll always try, and he'll always be a player that'll beat her. He'll never be a 3 or 4, in my opinion. I think he's someone you can trust and rely on. I don't think he'll do anything stupid in the games. And he is playing. That's something else too. I would always try and pick players that are playing if I'm an international manager. I know that kind of disputes myself with Kelleher, but Kelleher's just a really good goalkeeper. You know, if you're
Mm.
going to pick him or O'Leary, you're going to pick Kelleher. But for me, for outfield players anyway, you definitely need them playing. And I think that's why I picked Doherty left back as well. But Knight and Smallbone for me are the two midfielders kind of anchoring beside each other, or box to box midfielders, if you like, in front of the back
Yeah,
four.
you went with number 10, is that right? Basically, in
Did
behind the
Sammy,
striker.
yeah, well, with Sammy Smolik, he's an natural position. He's the highest Irish goal scoring player last season. He scored against Man City last week. I think he's been playing very well. He's one of a new Irish face that just came up recently enough. I think he's very exciting. He's fast. He can play in the wing if needed. He scores goals. He's not afraid to pick a pass. I think he's got a good work rate as well, which what I like in a player. He seems to have a very good attitude. He's fast. I think he's got a lot of things that you want from your number 10, and
Mm.
I think it's going to be a big campaign for him. So I vote with him. I think that's a good balance. You've got two really hard working players behind him, and you could nearly leave him to drop in when needed and go forward then with the ball. And I just think it's a good balance. We discussed how our midfielders are kind of quite the same, but I think Smollett gives you that bit more offensively, and he
Mm.
needs to be in the team. He's a Premier League player starting and playing well with Ipswich, so I think he'll play, and I certainly hope he plays in that position.
Yeah, it's the type of player that can get beyond the kind of natural centre forward as well, I think. On the left wing.
I went with Casey McAteer.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
a little surprise because he's only been called up, but yeah.
he's only been called up. Throw him
Mm.
in. Tell him this is it. This is against England. It's your first game. Let's see what you can do.
Getting signed up
Um,
basically, is it?
yeah, that's it. Throw him in. Throw him right in. Get him started. He could be the goal scorer. Why not? Every position in this Ireland team at the minute is up for grabs. Like this is a
Mm.
brand new manager coming in. Like he can't really pick players on merit. He can't pick players because you're playing every week. It's not going to be like that. And we have problem positions. We don't have a large pool of players. So he's a new player, new setup. I like him. I watched him a few times last season. I thought he did very well. Obviously, in a very good team with very good players. He has played, I think, 2 games this season so far for Leicester, if I'm right. I think he has.
Yeah, I
But
think
from
he's
what
made
I've seen
two
of him last
appearances
season, he
anyway.
was
Not sure if he
fast. He was a good
started.
dribbler.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I didn't start. He didn't start today either. I checked that out. But
yeah.
he's good offensively. He's good with the ball. He's technical. He can get forward. That's what we need. We need a player that's offensively. Is going to do something, make something happen. There's been so many Ireland games when nobody put a ball in or a good ball in. Nobody took a shot. Nobody took a chance. I'm hoping this could be a player that might start doing that for us. So I went with him.
Right wing.
Probably one of my favourite players. Chidozie Ogbene.
Mm.
Um,
I knew that'd be him. No, I'd pick him as well, to
yeah,
be fair, yeah.
yeah. Look, I just love him. He's one of my favourite players.
Mm.
Watching him
He
10
seems to
years now,
almost
nearly.
as, doesn't he? Isn't he one of those players that seems to, not saying he plays bad at club level, but he definitely ups to the level at international level for some reason. It's
Yeah,
one of them, I think.
yeah. And I think we as Ireland fans and as an Ireland team have missed that with certain players. Like over the
Mm.
years, some like there's always been players like he is going to have a good game. Like he is going to step up because like bad into club level or not in form. And the Irish shirt, he's just different. He's just a better player. And Ogbonna certainly been that. Like the likes of the Portugal match and all sticks to mind, and like how well he played in that night and the goals that he made and coming on as a sub and now I know he's scoring a really good goal. He has to be in the team. And I think putting him ahead of Coleman is a good area.
Mm.
Alternatively, maybe on the other side to help Doherty out. There's a bit of rotation there. They could switch because McAteer could play on either side, or Bennett can play
Mm.
on either side. But excuse me, obviously Coleman hasn't really got the legs he once had. So he would need help and support on that side, and I think O'Bannon gives him that. I think he gives him that bit of reassurance. He gives him that bit of a ruck race. He gives Coleman a chance to go forward. Coleman can give him space to go forward. I think it's a happy medium, and he's in his natural position as well. Playing as a wide midfielder, if you like, or as attacking midfielder. He brings a bit of pace to the game. He gets in behind. He takes shots on. He makes things happen, and that's what we need. So I went with Algbena there.
Interesting. Now the centre forward. Who have you gone for there?
Yeah, this was a tough one because for a few reasons. Obviously, Ida had a great season when he went on loan with Celtic. He got into form, finally started scoring some goals, albeit in the Scottish League, which is fine. We've had good players over the years come from there and playing there.
Yeah.
Troy Parra, obviously, he's come into form in the Dutch League. From the pool of players we have, I went with Adam Ida. Um, he had a good season last season. He's hit the ground running last season. He got himself goals. He played in some very big games, and he's playing this year. And I'd like to see him start against England. He's tall, physical, strong. He's fast. He could cause their centre backs a bit of issues.
Mm.
One with Ida up front. Who have you put up front, Key?
Oh, I'd actually go Ida as well. I think he can run the
Yeah,
channels very good, to be honest with you as well. He's very good at that. I think sometimes he doesn't, he lacks a little bit of composure sometimes in front of goal. But I thought he actually had some decent performances for Ireland at the back
yeah,
end of
at the back of there, yeah.
Kenny's tenure, to be honest. And he offers a little bit of everything. He maybe isn't brilliant at one thing, but from centre forward play, he can offer a little bit of everything. Just on Troy Parrott as well. I think generally when I've seen him play, I think he's better behind the striker slightly, in my opinion. I think he's got decent vision as well. I don't think he's a natural goal scorer. He can score goals, but he's not a natural goal scorer. I generally
Yeah.
think that's where he's better. That's where I've seen him play his best games, to be honest, as well. If you remember the Scottish game, for example, when he played off Obafemi, sorry, in that game, as an example, and other games and under 21 games in the past and that. So, now it's an interesting selection, Dads. Obviously, you've gone for Kelleher in goal, Coleman right back, Doherty left back, centre back Star O'Shea, Nathan Collins. In the middle of the park, you've gone for Will Smallbone, Jason Knight, Smaldix at number 10. By the way, I can't pronounce that right at all yet. McAtee, which is the joker in the pack a little bit on the left wing, Ogbeni on the right, and then up front, you've gone for Adam Ida. There's another world where I see him, the manager himself, possibly going with three at the back to give us,
Hmm.
make us a bit more solid, give us a foundation, particularly against England. And because we talked about how we kind of do lack a natural left back, quite a few players who you feel could play as a left wing back. You could easily shift Coleman into right centre back as an example. You could play Ogbene on the right as a right wing back. We've seen Knight play there before as well. You could possibly play, Brady if you wanted to, or O'Dowda there as well. So there's an alternative there which is interesting as well. The squad is probably better set up to play three at the back. Ideally, you'd like to play four at the back, in my opinion. But I'm very interested to see what the manager actually does, to be honest, in that regard
Yeah,
for the game against England in particular. Bear in mind as well that Kenny played three at the back a lot. That's not his preferred formation. Never was. I don't think it ever
no,
will
never
be.
was.
But that I think tells you the kind of strength of the squad, where it lies, or maybe the weaknesses of the squad also in many ways, isn't it? So I'm very intrigued to see what the manager actually does for this particular fixture because it's really interesting, like, you know what I mean. But I think we leave it there, Daz. That was brilliant. Fair play to you. I wouldn't argue too much on the system you picked. I don't think I've any real arguments. I don't think Ferguson will be fit enough yet to start. The only
That's why
one
I
I'd
didn't.
slightly argue with you is McAteer coming in, or sorry, you picked McAteer, but Callum Robinson maybe for a little bit more experience, and he scored goals for Ireland before. He possibly could start in that system ahead of McAteer, for example. I think
Yeah,
it's McAtee earlier on. I've got him in the brain. Doesn't he play for Man City? But yeah, that's the only one. Apart from that, I don't think there's too many disagreements. But it'll be interesting to see, Dads, what people think in the comments, what system we should play. Maybe they're starting
yeah,
11s, etc.,
completely
etc.
different. Yeah.
Put them in the comments, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Dads, once again for coming on. Top man.
Cheers, Key. Thank you.
Fair play to you. Brilliant stuff.